put the question mark. Okay. Suffocate or drown? What do fish do? That's the real question we're going to answer here today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am Alex, and this is my first video on this channel. Please stick with me. I'm going to try my best to go and edit this and do everything else. Anyways, you clicked on this video for a reason, because you wanted to answer that question. Do fish suffocate or drown whenever they're in or out of water lacking oxygen? That is the true question here. So, we've all heard the phrase, like a fish out of water, but have you ever wondered, can fish drown? Or is it more accurately that they suffocate? That didn't make sense, but whatever. Let's dive into it. What does drowning mean? First, let's define drowning. First, when humans drown, it's because water fills their lungs, preventing oxygen from getting to the bloodstream. It's simple enough to understand. But fish don't have lungs. They have gills right here. Technically, if humans had gills, it would be on their neck and it wouldn't be pleasant because we don't live in water. So, they technically can drown the way we do, but it's not the same. So, how fish breathe. First, fish use gills to extract oxygen from the water. The water passes the oxygen over the gill filaments. So, like, say you have your mouth open like that, you're swimming through water, like sucking all the water through. It goes through your gills, sucking out the oxygen, but not separating it molecularly. So, everyone knows that the normal saying H2O, hydrogen to oxygen, that's water. But fish don't break it apart. They have the hydrogen and the oxygen, the water. So, like, whenever water is there, oxygen just naturally gets pushed into it. So it's like the oxygen bubbles, they're like this small, and the hydrogen ones are this small. So like they're fitting in the gaps in between them, and the fish are taking the things from the gaps in between. It's a little bit easier to understand that way. So tiny blood vessels absorb the oxygen through it, release carbon dioxide the same way that we do, and kind of like our lungs, but they're adapted for underwater. The real question is, can fish drown? If the water lacks oxygen, fish won't be able to breathe properly. It won't drown in the traditional sense, but it will suffocate due to lack of oxygen. This can happen in polluted waters, crowded fish tanks, or areas with low oxygen levels, like in the infamous dead zones in the oceans. Yeah, you'll just go in the water scuba diving and you're like, oh, why is there nothing here? Probably because there's no oxygen in the water, or there's some kind of underwater volcanic thing putting sulfur dioxide or hexafluoride, whatever gas is in there, and it's killing the fish, and they legitimately just can't live there. That's just how it is. Now, another question is, can fish choke? Fish can also choke, truly, just like us. But if something gets lodged in their gills or throat, it's the same way, something gets lodged in an infant's throat, lifesaver gummy, perfectly fine. But a Lego, kill, dead child. Same thing. They won't be able to absorb the water because the water can't go through, obviously. So preventing proper water flow, some fish, like sharks, have to keep swimming to force water through them, So stopping for too long can also cause them to suffocate. That's another way fish can suffocate, but it's not the same thing as drowning, technically. They're not dying because of their lungs or gills technically being full of water. They're dying because of the lack of oxygen. So, final verdict. So you can happily go and discuss this to other people that you know. Fish don't drown, not exactly. They can, but it's not the same. They more or less just suffocate. So, now you know. Do fish drown or suffocate? They suffocate whenever there's a lack of oxygen in the water. Because technically, they're already in water and they can live perfectly fine with it as long as there's oxygen. And that's kind of the same thing with humans. If we could absorb the oxygen through the water, then we would be perfectly fine. We could live underwater, breathe the water, breathe in the oxygen, absorb through the water, and be fine. So, Hope you found this interesting. Hope you remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, and please tell me how I can improve this, because this is just a video on a whim using ChatGPT and my own knowledge. So thank you. I hope you have a good day. Bye.